Hello and welcome to this continuing first look exploring session looking at Blurt, Master Constable, or The Spaniard's Night Walk. Play from around about 1601. We've had a lot of fun with this so far. We're all returning to the text after a couple of days off, so some of us may be sort of trying to remember what happened. We had the other day off, just to get back into the plot. There isn't really a plot. That's I think the important thing. There's a love triangle that went a bit wrong, and there's a chap called Blurt. He's a master constable, and he's about. And we were having a lot of fun. So continuing our journey with the text, reading Simperina and a Friar is
Aliki Chapple, Greek actor and translator based in the north of England.
Reading Imperia and Fontinell is
Alexandra. I am also here.
Reading Doyt, Hippolito and a number of courtesans is
Hello, I'm Lynn Freitas. I teach college composition here in the Northwestern United States.
Reading Trivia, Curvetto and Violetta is
Briony, Sparrow, eating chocolate buttons in Lincolnshire.
Reading Camillo and also some additional courtesans is
Hello, Dan, actor based in Montpellier, France.
And reading Frisco, Lazarillo and Truepenny is
It's me, it's Alan. I'm only playing one little boy today.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. So many responses I could do to that, but they're all not good. I'm your host, and I'll be reading stage directions and generally moving us forward. So we're rejoining in Act 2, Scene 2, or running scene number 4. And we're going to dive into some new characters who we've not met before. Enter Imperia the Courtesan, two maids, Trivia and Simperina, with perfumes.
Fie. By the light oath of my fan, the weather is exceeding tedious and faint. Trivia, Simperina, stir. One of you open the casement, the other take a ventoise and gently cool my face. Fie, I had such an exceeding high collar, I so sweat. Simperina, just here, prithee be more compendious. Why, Simperina.
Here, madame.
Press down my ruff before. Wait, fie, how thou blow'st upon me, thy breath, God's me, thy breath, fie. It takes off all the painting and colour from my cheek. In good faith, I care not if I go and be sick presently. Oh, my head so aches with carrying this bodkin. In truth, I'll try if I can be sick.
Nay, good sweet lady.
Nay, good sweet lady.
You know a company of gallants will be here at night. Be not out of temper, sweet mistress.
In good troth, if I be not sick, I must be melancholy then. This same gown never comes on, but I'm so melancholy and so sunburnt. 'Tis a strange garment. I warrant Simperina, the foolish tailor that made it was troubled with the stitch when he composed it.
That's very likely, madame, but it makes you have a most icony body.
No, by St. Mark. The waist is not long enough, for I love a long and tedious waist. Besides, I have a most ungodly middle in it, and fie. It makes me bend in the back. Oh, let me have some music.
There is some music.
Not the fault in your gown, madame, but in your body.
Indeed, the bending of the back is the fault of the body.
Oh, rich.
Oh, rare.
Oh, no. 'Tis slight and common, all that I do. Prithee, Simperina, do not ingle me, do not flatter me, Trivia. I had never a cast gown till next week. This stirring to and fro hath done me so much good. A song, I prithee. I love these French movings. Oh, they are so clean. If you tread them true, you shall hit them to a hair. Sing, Sing some odd and fantastical thing, for I cannot abide these dull and lumpish tunes. The musicians stand longer a pricking them than I would do to hear them. No, give me your light ones that go nimbly and quickly and are full of changes and carry sweet division. Pretty sing. Stay. Here's Hippolyto's sonnet. First read it and then sing it.
Reads and then song, which I think is the following. The words are the song. We shall see.
In a fair woman, what thing is best?
I think a coral lip.
No, you jest. She has a better thing.
Then 'tis a pretty eye.
Yes, 'tis a better thing which more delight doth bring.
Then 'tis a cherry cheek.
No, you lie. We're neither cheap nor lips nor cheeks, coral nor pretty eyes. Were not her swelling breast stuck with strawberries, nor had smooth hands, soft skin, white neck, pure eye. Yet she had this alone your love can tie. Oh, 'tis the only joy to men, the only praise to women. What is it then? This it is, oh, this it is, and in a woman's middle it is placed. In a most beauteous body, a heart most chaste. This is a jewel kings may buy. If women sell this jewel, women lie.
And one knocks within. Frisco enters within.
Who the pox knocks?
One that will knock thy coxcomb if he do not enter.
If thou dost not enter, how canst thou knock me?
Why, then I'll knock thee when I do enter.
Why, then thou shalt not enter, but instead of me, knock thy heels.
Frisco, I am Doyt, Hippolyto's page.
And I am Frisco, squire to a bawdy house.
I have a jewel to deliver to thy mistress.
Is set with precious stones.
Thick.
Oh, enter Doyt with the picture and Frisco.
Why then, enter. Thick.
Five. What? Who makes this yawling at the door?
Here's Signor Hippolito's man that shall be come to hang you.
Trivia, strip that villain. Simperina, pinch him. Slit his wide nose. Fie. I'll have you gelded for thy lustiness.
And she threatens to geld me unless I be lusty. What shall poor Frisco do?
Hang me.
No, not I. Hang me if you will, and set up my quarters too.
Hippolyto's boy come to hang me.
To hang you with jewels, sweet and gentle. That's Frisco's meaning, and that's my coming.
Keep the door.
That's my office indeed. I've been your doorkeeper for so long that all the hinges, the spring locks and the ring are worn to pieces. How if anybody knock at the door?
Let them enter.
Exit Frisco.
Five. His great tongue does so run through my little ears. 'Tis more harsh than a younger brother's courting of a gentlewoman when he has no crowns. Boy,
At your service.
my service. Alas, thou canst do me small service. Did thy master send this painted gentleman to me?
This painted gentleman to you.
Well, I will hang his picture up by the walls till I see his face, and when I see his face, I'll take his picture down. Hold it, Trivia.
It's most sweetly made.
Hang him up, Simperina.
The most sweet man.
And does the mask hold? Let me see it again.
If their vizards hold, here you shall see all their blind cheeks. This is the night, 9 the hour, and I the jack that gives warning.
He gives warning, mistress. Shall I let him out?
You shall not need, I can set out myself.
And exit Doyt. So yes, this is connecting with the close of our last session with Hippolito's cunning plan to do with the picture. Yes, this is all following straight on. We get this moment of Imperia and her maids and clothing and singing, because it's a boys' company show, so there's got to be singing. And a lot of what feel like there's probably a lot of innuendo in there that some of which I don't necessarily know that is an innuendo, except that it's a sort of innuendo shaped thing, even if I'm not quite sure which precise bit of the anatomy that they're talking about at any particular interval. So yeah, thoughts on the room. I say, in a sense, we're getting a bit of a character study, and then we're also getting straight on with actual plot being developed. Like there's something going on here. Thoughts on the room. Who wants to leap in on Imperia, who does an awful lot of fying and farring and lying and stay. There's a lot of repetition in that dialogue, that is interesting. And the way that structurally works. Lynn.
Well, I feel like we've seen Imperia before in other plays, but not as a female character. Is this making sense to anybody? The way she uses language, and she keeps using the word tedious and probably using it incorrectly, and she's so high-handed. That all seems really familiar, but it seems like something that's usually in a male character's presentation. So I find that really interesting.
There's something of the fop here going on, but just played elsewhere. Yeah. Yes, because it's all this stuff about call my face, yes.
Yeah.
Other thoughts, Alexandra?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that these repetitions that we're seeing, and of course are just seeing as repetitions, 5 phi's in a row, 4 no's in a row. They on paper they don't necessarily give us a lot, but I think in the hands of a skilled actor, you would immediately have not only a tick in terms of how she speaks, but a whole contour to her characterization, which, yes, I agree with Lynn, is sort of atypical for characters in her position, which makes her interesting.
And of course the doorkeeper is keeping out Doyt until it's have you got lots of, it's talking about there's a jewel, and they thought, whoa, is this covered with precious stones? Yes. Come on in, and until the probability of cash and or some kind of coming into the household, nobody's coming in. You don't come in without paying into the house of Imperia. Any other thoughts before we carry on? It's quite a long scene. We're going to be starting a couple of times probably as we go through. Okay, so Doyt has exited. He's delivered the picture. The picture has been hung up, along with many others, and Imperia continues.
I must warn the potential hearer that there may be a drill starting up behind me while this happens. If so, I'm so sorry. Flaxen hair and short too. Oh, that's the French cut. But fie. These flaxen-haired men are such pulers and such piddlers and such chicken hearts, and yet great quarrellers, that when they court a lady there for the better part, bound to the peace. No. Your black-haired man, so he be fair, is your only sweet man, and in any service the most active. A banquet. Trivia, quick.
In a twinkling. Slid, my mistress cries like the rod woman. Quick, buy any rosemary and bays.
And exit trivia.
A little face, but a lovely face. Five. No matter what face he makes, so the other parts be legitimate and go upright. Stir, Simperina, be doing. Quickly, move.
Most incontinently. Oh, sweet.
Exit Simperina.
As I live, I must love thee and suck kisses from thy lips. Alack, that women should fall thus deeply in love with dumb things that have no feeling. But these are women's crosses, and the only way to take them is to take them patiently.
And enter Frisco, Trivia, and Simperina.
Hey ho! Set music, Frisco.
Music? That's not a hard heart. Speak to my mistress.
There's more music.
Say he scorn to marry me, yet he shall stand me in some stead by being my Ganymede. If he be the most decayed gallant in all Venice, I will myself undo myself and my whole state to set him up again. Though speaking truth would save my life, I will lie to do him pleasure, yet to tell lies may hurt the soul. No. Souls are things to be trodden under our feet when we dance after love's pipe. Therefore, here, hang this counterfeit at my bed's feet.
If he be counterfeit, nail him up on one of your posts.
Exit with picture.
By the moist hand of love, I swear I will be his lottery, and he shall never draw it, but he shall be a prize.
Curvetto knocks within.
Who knocks?
Why, 'tis I, knave.
Then, knave, knock there still.
What? Open door.
Yeah, when I list, I will.
Here's money.
Much?
Here's gold.
Away.
Knave, open.
Calls one maid. Good night, we're all sleeping.
Enter Frisco.
Mistress, if you've ever a pinnace to set out, you may now have it manned and rigged for Signor Curvetto. He that cries, I am an old courtier, but lie close. When our maids swear he lies as wide as any courtier
Do
in
we
Italy.
care how he lies?
There's a knocking.
Anon. This old hoary red deer serves himself in at your keyhole.
What? Frisco?
Hark, shall he enter the breach?
Fie. I wonder what this gurnet's head makes here. Yet bring him in, he will serve for picking meat.
Exit Frisco.
Let music play, for I will feign myself to be asleep.
We can infer perhaps music plays. Enter Frisco with Curvetto.
3 pence, and here's a teston. Yet, take all. Coming to jump, we must be prodigal. I'm an old courtier, and I can lie close. Put up, Frisco. Put up.
Anything at your hand, sir? I will put up, because you seldom pull out anything.
Softly, sweet Signor Curvetto, for she's fast.
Ha! Fast? My rober fast? And but young knight? She's wearied. Aha! Hit I right?
How, sir? Wearied? Marry. Faugh!
Wearied, sir? Marry muff.
No words. Here, mouse, no words. Sweet Rose, I am a hoary courtier, and lie close.
An old hoary courtier? Why, so has a jowl of ling and a musty whiting bin. Time out of mind. I think, signor, you should not be so old by your face.
I have a good heart, knave, and a good heart is a good face maker. I am young, quick, brisk. I was a reveller in a long stock. There's not a gallant now fills such a stock. Plump hose, pan stuffed with hair. Hair then was held the lightest stuffing. A fair codpiece, an eel-skin sleeve, lashed here and there with lace. High collar lashed again. Breech lashed also. A little simpering bruff, a dapper cloak with Spanish button cape. My rapier here. Gloves like a burgomaster here, hat here, stuck with some 10-groat brooch, and over all a goodly long, thick, Abram-coloured beard. Oh God, thus did I revel it, when Monsieur Mott lay here ambassador, but now those beards are gone, our chins are bare, our quarters now do all against the hair. I can lie close and see this, but not see. I am hoary, but not hoary as some be.
Who's that? Signor Curvetto? By my virginity.
No more. Swear not so deep at these years. Men have eyes, and though the most are fools, some fools are wise.
Fie. And you meet me thus at half weapon, one must down.
Chief of my life.
Somebody shall pay for it.
Pay for me head.
Do not, therefore, cover me so with cross blows. No, no, no. I shall be sick if my speech be stopped. By my virginity, I swear, and why may I not swear by that I have not, as well as poor musty soldiers do by their honour, brides and 24, by their maidenheads, citizens by their faith, and brokers as they hope to be saved. By my virginity, I swear, I dreamed that one brought me a goodly cod's head, and in one of the eyes there stuck methought the greatest precious stone, the most sparkling diamond. Ah, fie, that diamonds should make such women such fools.
A cod's head and a diamond? Ha ha ha! 'Tis common. You may dream as well of diamonds and of cod's heads. Where's not one as swears by your virginity where's none? I am that cod's head. She has spied my stone, my diamond. Noble wench, but nobler hose.
Puts it up.
I am an old courtier, and lie close.
The cornets sound a la volta, which the maskers are to dance. Camillo, Hippolito, and other gallants, everyone save Hippolito with a lady, masked. Zanies with torches enter suddenly. Curvetto offers to depart.
No, if you shrink from me, I will not love you. Stay.
I am conjured and will keep my circle.
And they dance.
Fie. By the neat tongue of eloquence, this measure is out of measure. It's too hot. Gallants, be not ashamed to show your own faces. Ladies, unapparel your dear beauties. So. Here is a banquet, and sit. Signor Curvetto, thrust in amongst them. Soft music there. Do.
I will first salute the men, close with the women, and last sit.
But not sit last. A banquet, and have these suckets here. Oh, I have a crew of angels, prisoners in my pocket, and none but a good bale of dice can fetch them out. Dice, ho! Come, my little lecherous baboon. By St. Mark, you shall venture your 20 crowns.
And have but one.
I swore first.
Right, you swore. But oaths are now like Blurt, our constable, standing for nothing. A mere plot, a trick. The mask dogged me. I hit it in the nick. I fetched to get my diamond, my dear stone. I am a hoary courtier, but lie close. I'll play, sir.
Come.
But in my t'other hose.
And exit.
Curvetto?
Let him go. I knew that hook would choke him, and therefore baited that for him to nibble upon. An old coxcomb rascal that was beaten out of the cockpit when I could not stand a high loan without I held up by a thing to come crowing among us. Hang him, lobster. Come, the same oath that your foreman took, take all and sing.
And there is a song. Love is like a lamb, and love is like a lion. Fly from love, he fights. Fight when he does he fly on. Love is all in fire, and yet is ever freezing. Love is much in winning, yet is more in leasing. Love is ever sick, and yet is never dying. Love is ever true, and yet is ever lying. Love does dote in liking, and mad in loathing. Love indeed is anything, and yet indeed is nothing. Enter Lazarillo.
Mars, omnipotent, with his court of guard, give sharpness to my Toledo. I'm beleaguered. O Cupid, grant that my blushing prove not a linstock, and give fire too suddenly to the roaring meg of my desires. Most sanguine cheeked ladies.
Foot, how now, Don Diego, sanguine cheeked? Dost think their faces have been at cutlers? Out, you roaring, tawny-faced rascal. 'Twere a good deed to beat my hilt about his coxcomb, and then make him sanguine-cheeked too.
Hey, good Hippolito.
Fie, Fine. Oh, I hate this company. I would not have my house to abuse his countenance. No. Be not so contagious. I will send him hence with a flea in his ear.
Do, or I'll turn him into a flea and make him skip under some of your petticoats.
Signor Lazarillo.
Most sweet face, you need not hang out your silken tongue as a flag of truce, for I will drop at your feet ere I draw blood in your chamber. Yet I shall hardly drink up this wrong. For your sake, I will wipe it out for this time. I would deal with you in secret, so you had avoid your room about most deep and serious matters.
I'll send these hence. Fie. I am so choked still with this man of gingerbread, and yet I can never be rid of him. But hark, Hippolito.
Good. Draw the curtains, put out candles, and girls, to bed.
Venus, give me sup from thine own most white and tender dugs, that I may batten in love. Dear instrument of many men's delight, are all these women?
No, they are half men and half women.
You apprehend too fast. I mean by women, wives. For wives are no maids, and nor are maids women. If those unbearded gallants keep the doors of their wedlock, those ladies spend their hours of pastime but ill. O most rich armful of beauty, but if you can bring all those females into one ring, into one private place, I will read a lecture of discipline to their most great and honourable ears, wherein I will teach them so to carry their white bodies, either before their husbands or before their lovers, that they shall never fear to have milk thrown in their faces, nor I wine in mine, when I come to sit upon them in courtesy.
That were excellent. I'll have them here at your pleasure.
Show them all the tricks and garbs of Spanish dames. I will study for apt and elegant phrase to tickle them with, and when my device is ready, I will come. Will you inspire into your most divine spirits the most divine soul of tobacco?
No, fie. I should be choked up if your pipe should kiss my underlip.
Henceforth, most deep stamp of feminine perfection, my pipe shall not be drawn before you, but in secret.
Enter Hippolito and the rest of the maskers as before. Dancing, Hippolito takes Imperia, exeunt all but Lazarillo.
Lament my case, since thou canst not provoke her nose to smell. Love, fill thine own with smoke.
And exit. So, yes, Lazarillo, who we met earlier, yes, will read a lecture of discipline. I'm sure he will.
Yes.
I'm sure he will. Absolutely. And more innuendo there. But just one or two. Aliki.
I wonder what she means by calling him a man of gingerbread. Does it mean sweet and soft and overspiced and not, because the association for us is you can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man, but it's not that. He's definitely catchable. He would love to be caught.
Choked still with this man of gingerbread.
Over-decorated?
Over-decorated, yeah. Too fancy.
Yeah, no, not much substance, liable to crumble at the earliest opportunity.
It's a wonderful image.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. We have a lot of music, boys' company. That's what we're here for. We're here for the singing and the dancing and all the rest of it. Lots of customers coming in. We've got Curvetto, who's an interesting character. I think he's an old courtier. I get this hint that he might be, from the court and moderately old. So yeah, there's this constant repetition of that. And yeah, he's a big spender, is Curvetto as well. I mean, immediately comes in and tips threepence. I mean, ooh. I also love the fact that Imperia, when she sends off her servants, immediately just do an aside of, oh, for the love of God. They're not impressed with her at all. I mean, continuing that trend of servants being generally unimpressed with their masters or mistresses, you get the impression that they are really sick and tired of Imperia's sort of shtick, as it were. So yeah, lots going on here. Other thoughts of all these various things. I mean, in a sense, we were talking earlier about plot. We are vaguely, there's some picture movement has occurred. The Imperia seems, quite interested in this image. But apart from that, actually, not a lot of additional plot has occurred. We've met some new people, and they may or may not do something further down the line. But yeah, and more filthy jokes and songs. Alexandra.
Just one thing that I've noticed is that despite sort of imperiousness being presumably something sort of frivolous and superficial and making her, signifying her as not necessarily a very depth-filled character, she I think what the scene does give us that is interesting is two things. A drill. Two things. One is she has authority. They don't necessarily agree with what she tells them to do, but they do it. The other thing is she seems to be very good at her trade, as it were, in the entertaining courtesan, sort of keeping people sweet with attention and with little jokes and with flirtations. So, it kind of sets her up at a particular class of her profession quite nicely.
Yeah, does Imperia, do we get moments when Imperia's professional front drops? Or is it all professional front all the time? I was just wondering, is this kind of character you kind of expect at some point will just turn to the staff or somebody else and sort of not in that character, but it seems that this character is something that she does all the time, even with, staff behind the scenes. And I wonder about the nature of that. Alexandra and then Aliki.
I think there's two aspects to it, though. I think there is definitely an at-home and in public face, because she does a lot less of the give me my that, do my thing, do this when there are men around. When she's alone with her servants, that's her attitude. There was something else I wanted to point out. Now I've lost it. Sorry.
Aliki.
So that bit about the portrait and being in love, isn't she alone there?
Just about, yes. Very briefly.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like she's saying she's fallen in love with the pretty face on the picture, right?
Yes.
And she'd do anything for him. She has got no idea who she is, but she'd do anything for him. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the slow turning over of plot, because that's the guy that Hippolito wants to Fontinell. That's a picture of Fontinell, who wants out of the way, and this is part of some elaborate scheme to do that. Alan.
Or is it actually the jewels around the portrait which were attracted to her? Or is that being over cynical?
I think for the plot point, it is genuine interest. I don't know how in love she actually is, but there's definitely she is definitely interested in this portrait, and we shall see more. So let us move on. What is Act 3, Scene 1 or running Scene 5? Enter Hippolito and Frisco.
The wooden picture you sent her set her on fire. She desires you, as you pity the case of a poor desperate gentlewoman, to serve that monsieur in at supper to her.
Enter Camillo.
The Frenchman. Saint Denis let her carve him up. Stay, here's Camillo. Now, my fool in fashion, my stage idiot, up with these brims, down with thy devil melancholy. Are you decayed? Concupiscentius innamorato. News. Imperia dotes on Fontinell.
What comfort speaks her love to my sick heart?
Marry this, sir. Here's a yellow hammer flew to me with thy water, and I cast it, and find that his mistress, being given to this new falling sickness, will cure these. The Frenchman, you see, has a soft marmalady heart, and shall sooner feel Imperia's liquorish desire to lick at him, but straight he'll stick the brooch of her lodging in it. Then, sir, may you, sir, come upon my sister, sir, with a fresh charge, sir. Sa sa sa. Once giving back and thrice coming forward, she'll yield, and the town of Brest is taken.
This has some taste of hope. Is that the Mercury who brings you notice of his mistress's love?
I may be a Mercury for my running of errands, but troth, sir, I'm Cerberus, for I'm porter to hell.
Then, Cerberus, play thy part. Here, search thy hell. There find and bring forth that false Fontinell.
And exit Frisco.
If I can win his strayed thoughts to retire from her encountered eyes, whom I have singled in Hymen's holy battle, he shall pass from hence to France in company and guard of my own heart. Here comes Hippolito.
Enter Fontinell talking with Frisco.
Oh, happy persecution, I embrace thee with an unfettered
Yeah,
soul.
still, he looks like a lover, poor gentleman. Love is the mind's strong physic, and the pill leaves the heart sick, and o'erturns the will. Stay, he talks.
As I was saying, oh, happy persecution, I embrace thee with an unfettered soul. So sweet a thing it is to sigh upon the rack of love, where each calamity is groaning witness of the poor martyr's faith. I never heard of any true affection, but 'twas nipped with care, like the caterpillar eats the leaves off the spring's sweetest book, the rose. Love, bred on earth, is often nursed in hell. By rote it reads woe ere it learns to spell.
Good morrow, French lord.
Bonjour, monsieur.
To your secure and more than happy self I render thanks, for you have honoured me. You are my jailer, and have penned me up, lest the poor fly, your prisoner, should alight upon your mistress' lip, and thence derive the dimpled print of an infective touch. Thou secure tyrant, yet unhappy lover, couldst thou chain mountains to my captive feet, yet Violetta's heart and mine should meet.
Hark, swaggerer. There's a little dapple-colored rascal, a Bonaroba. Her name's Imperia, a gentlewoman by my faith of an ancient house, and has goodly rents and comings in of her own. And this ape would fain have thee chained to her in the holy state. Sarah, she's fallen in love with thy picture. Yes, faith, to her, woo her and win her. Leave my sister, and thy ransom's paid. All's paid, gentlemen. By the Lord, Imperia is as good a girl as any in Venice.
Upon my honour, Fontinell, 'tis true. The lady dotes on thy perfections. Therefore resign my Violetta's heart to me, the lord of it, and I will send thee...
Whither to damnation? Wilt thou not? Think'st thou the purity of my true soul can taste your leprous counsel? No, I defy you. Insistency dwell on his rivelled brow that weds for dirt, or on the enforced heart that lags in rearward of his father's charge, whereto some negro gelderling he's clogged by the injunction of a golden fee, when I call back my vows to Violetta. May I then slip into an obscure grave, whose mould, unpressed with stony monument, dwelling in open air, may drink the tears of the inconstant clouds, to rot me soon out of my private linen sepulchre.
Aye, is this your settled resolution?
By my love's best divinity it is.
Then bear him to his prison back again. This tune must alter ere thy lodging mend. To death, fond Frenchman, to thy slight love doth tend.
Then, constant heart, thy fate with joy pursue. Draw wonder to thy death, expiring true.
Exit Fontinell.
After him, Frisco. enforce thy mistress' passion. Thou shalt have access to him to bring him love tokens. If they prevail not, yet thou shalt still be in presence, be it but to spite him. In honest Frisco.
I'll vex him to the heart, sir. Fear me not. Here's a trick perchance may set him free.
And exit Frisco. I'll just pause there mid-scene. So it's all there to tempt Fontinell away, and no, he's he's not having any of it. Not having any of it. Not a bit of it. No, that's a no. That's a no from the prisoner there. I mean, it wasn't much of a plan, was it? I mean, it's not subtle. It's not like they left them alone together and allowed nature to run its course or anything. It's just going. The people who hate you say, "Hi, hey, here's a and brr, and no, and yeah, that's yeah. Any thoughts on the room? On this I'd say development. Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be kind of uncharitable towards Hippolito here, but he's sort of assuming that Fontinell is as fickle and shallow as he is, and it turns out Fontinell is not. Like, Hippolito's sort of judging other people by his own character, and it turns out he's maybe not the most accurate yardstick.
Yeah, he's yeah, it's not looking good character-wise for Hippolito and Camillo, really, is it? You know, they're both not the greatest of people in many ways. Some awkward language in some of what Fontinell was saying as well, though. But you know, there was a slight eek moment there of Alexandra just going, "Oh, I've got to say that, do I? Oh, thanks for that." Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I notice is that Violetta hasn't even been consulted as a person with agency in her own right in this. It's like, well, we'll get Fontinell to fall in love with somebody else. He'll be out of the picture, and then you can marry my sister. Whether she wants to or not, whether she still has feelings for Fontinell. So that's a little problematic.
Yeah, these guys are not great guys, are they? Alexandra.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They made more effort to convince Imperia by actually taking, knowing how she works and that she likes, looking at men's pictures and sort of, she's like, this is likely to work for her. They made the effort of getting a picture to her so that she can fall in love with his image. And then they just tell him, hey, my friend likes you. It's so, it's so kind of utterly ineffectual, of course, but it's sort of, ill planned. But yeah, it's really interesting that they make so much more effort on Imperia's front, who, as we just discussed, has authority in her own part of the world. And at the same time, not only does Violetta have nothing, but in terms of a choice in the matter, but even of Fontinell, they just assume. Also, totally unrelatedly, may I point out why did we not point out the beautifulness of Frisco, the doorman? Of that name being in that position in modern interpretation.
Aliki.
Yeah, I was just going to say that both Violetta and Fontinell are essentially helpless. They don't have money of their own. They don't have liberty. Whereas Imperia is an independent businesswoman of considerable repute. It's not just my friend likes you, it's my sexually adventurous and uninhibited and very rich friend likes you.
Lynn.
That's just a really good point. I just wanted to compliment Aliki on that insight that, yeah, the difference isn't even gender. It's actually subject position in terms of like social juice. It like one person's a prisoner, another person's a more sort of stereotypically placed female who doesn't have her own income, who doesn't have her own agency, but a sex worker does, in a way, have a kind of agency that a more respectable woman does not. So yeah, it's about sort of subject position, even more than gender.
Okay, let's go on. So Frisco has exited. Hippolito and Camillo, the wonderful people that they are, have a little chat together.
Come, wilt thou go laugh and lie down? Now sure there be some rebels in thy belly, for thine eyes do nothing but watch and ward. Thou art not slept these 3 nights.
Alas, how can I? He that truly loves burns out the day in idle fantasies, and when the lamb bleating doth bid good night unto the closing day, and tears begin to keep quick time unto the owl whose voice shrieks like the bellman in the lover's ears. Love's eye, the jewel of sleep, oh, seldom wears. The early lark is wakened from her bed, being only by love's plaints disquieted, and singing in the morning's ease she weeps, being deep in love at lover's broken sleeps. But say a golden slumber chance to tie, with silken strings the cover of love's eye, then dreams magician-like, mocking present pleasures, whose fading leaves more discontent. Have you these golden charms?
Enter musicians.
We have, my lord.
We have, my lord. All together now, they say.
We have, my lord.
We have, my lord.
Okay. Bestow them sweetly. Think a lover's heart dwells in each instrument, and let it melt in weeping strains. Yonder direct your faces, that the soft summons of a fretless parley may creep into the casement. So begin. Music, speak movingly. Assume my part, for thou must now plead to a stony heart.
And there is a song. Camillo, I think we'll give you. I know
I can do
it's
it.
musicians, but you know.
Pity, 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 pity. That word begins, that ends a true love ditty. Your blessed eyes like a pair of suns shine in the sphere of smiling. Your pretty lips like a pair of doves, our kisses still compiling. Mercy hangs upon your brow like a precious jewel. Oh, let not then most lovely maid, best to be loved of men, marble lie upon your heart that will make you cruel. Oh, let not then most lovely maid, best to be loved of men. Pity, 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 pity. That word begins, that ends a true love ditty.
Enter Violetta above.
Who owes this salutation?
I, Camillo.
Is not your shadow there too, my sweet brother?
Here, sweet sister.
I dreamt so. Oh, I am much bound to you, for you, my lord, have used my love with honour.
Ever with honour.
Indeed you have.
Like she means her French garçon.
The same. Good night. Trust me, 'tis somewhat late, and this bleak wind nips dead all idle prate. I must to bed. Good night.
The god of rest play music to thine eyes, whilst on my breast the furies sit and beat, and keep care waking.
You will not leave my friend in this poor taking?
Yes, by the velvet brow of darkness.
You scurvy tit, foot scurvy anything. Do you hear, Susanna, you punk? If I gild not your musket, I'll do it by Jesu. Let's go, Camillo.
Nay, but pure swaggerer, ruffian, do you think to fright me with your bugbear threats? Go by. Hark, tosspot, in your ear, the Frenchman's mine, and by these hands I'll have him.
Rare rogue, Fine.
He is my prisoner by a deed of gift. Therefore, Camillo, you have wronged me much to wrong my prisoner. By my troth, I love him the rather for the baseness he endures for my unworthy self. I'll tell you what, release him, let him plead your love for you. I love a life to hear a man speak French, of his complexion. I would undergo the instruction of that language rather far than be 2 weeks unmarried by my life, because I'll speak true French. I'll be his wife.
Scorn to my chaste love, burst heart.
Swoons, hold.
Come, gentle friends, tie your most solemn tunes by silver strings unto a leaden pace. False fair, enjoy thy base beloved. Adieu, he far less noble and shall prove less true.
Exeunt all but Violetta. Enter Truepenny above with a letter.
I've brought you this letter from the poor gentleman in the deep dungeon, who would not stay till he had an answer.
Her groom employed by Fontinell? Oh, strange. I wonder how he got access to him. I'll read, and reading, my poor heart shall ache. True love is jealous, fears the best love shake. Meet me at the end of the old chapel, next St. Lorenzo's monastery. Furnish your company with a friar, that there he may consummate our holy vows. Till midnight farewell, thine Fontinell. Hath he got opportunity to escape? Oh, happy period of our separation! Blessed night, wrap Cynthia in a sable sheet, that fearful lovers may securely meet.
And exeunt. So, Fontinell, despite it being a bit locked up, managed to get some messages out. And Violetta, yeah, there's the traditional let's play some music underneath somebody's window gambit. Responses, hark tosspot, in your ear. It doesn't, yeah.
I enjoyed that so much. It's like, look, I've brought musicians and everything. They better have the world's smallest violin with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Lynn.
And our Frisco is on Fontinell's side. He's kind of a double agent, so, which I'm kind of enjoying. That it's just because I'm responding to this as a genre. Fontinell is he's the male ingenue. He's the one whose side I think structurally we're supposed to be on, and Frisco's helping him, and so go Frisco.
Yeah, we're getting some good stuff going on here. And just really good. And the song of Pity Pity Pity. I'm not quite sure how we're supposed to take some of that, because some of the lyrics, your pretty lips like a pair of doves. Not sure that one works. Not sure that's quite the lyric he had in mind there. Yeah. Blessed eyes like a pair of suns. I suppose I'll let that one vaguely pass, but not some of the best lyrics in the universe. Other thoughts? So yeah, we're getting both sides of all the sides of this particular love triangle going on here, all in one scene, which is quite interesting. Lynn.
Yeah, it's a question in my mind how to take that pity 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 love song. I mean, that's a attack we've heard before in the lyric poetry of the time, in other drama. Pity me, I'm so in love with you. But this is it's so pathetic that maybe that it's supposed to sort of tip in the direction of you're just like such a loser. What a scrub, as Rachel would say. The sort of self-defeating, because it just makes the speaker in that verse so pathetic.
Okay. Any other thoughts before we move on to our next little scene in Act 3? Okay, due to power outages, we have lost our Fontinell for the next scene. So I'm going to ask Dan if you could read Fontinell. I think you are free for it. So Act 3, Scene 2, or the running Scene 6. Enter Frisco in Fontinell's apparel. Frisco's dressed as Fontinell. Fontinell making himself ready in Frisco's apparel. They've swapped clothes. We've got a disguising, people. We've got a disguising. They enter suddenly and in fear.
Play you my part bravely. You must look like a slave, and you shall see I'll counterfeit a Frenchman most knavishly. My mistress, for your sake, charged me on her blessing to fall to these ships. I left her at cards. She'll sit up till you come, because she'll have you play a game at Noddy. You'll put it to her presently.
I will, upon mine honour.
I think she does not greatly care whether you fall to her upon your honour or no. So all's fit. Tell my lady that I go in a suit of durance for her sake. That's your way, and this pithole's mine. If I can escape hence, why so? If not, he that's hanged is nearer to heaven by 60 steps than he that dies in a bed. And so, adieu, monsieur.
And exit Frisco.
Farewell, dear trusty slave. Shall I profane this temple with an idol of strange love? When I do so, let me dissolve in fire. Yet one day, when I see this dame, whose heart takes off my misery, I'll not be so rude to pay her kindness with ingratitude.
Enter Violetta and a friar apace.
My dearest Fontinell.
Ah, my Violetta. Ah, oh God.
Oh, God.
Where is this Reverend Friar?
He's here, overjoyed, young man.
How didst thou escape? How came Imperia's man?
Ah, no more of that.
When did Imperia...
The Christians are now thieves, and lies in ambush to surprise our joys. My most happy stars, shine still, shine on. Ah, way, come, love beset had need be gone.
And they exit. I particularly love this is a very early example of the I'll explain later gambit. Of we have a plot hole in our story. How do we solve the plot hole? I'll explain later. There's a reason, and it's fine because we've mentioned that we haven't actually fully joined all the dots together. Which I mean, it's not a plot hole as such, but it's just detail, and it's basically just saying, how did you come to be here? Because I'll tell you later. That's a very early example of that. Something that we get a lot today. Aliki.
I'm not actually sure that that's what it is. I think it might be a very early example of the my phone is out of battery. Which is to say, everything in this plot could be understood if he just said to her right now, your brother tried to set me up with Imperia. I've never met the woman. It's fine. Whereas now what we'll get is Violetta will go, but Imperia, and change her mind about the marriage or something like that. That's my guess.
But of course, we've got people swapping clothes with a servant and master swap clothes.
Yeah.
Everyone can tick that off from their early modern bingo card. I don't know who put that one in. Was that yes, Lynn from the chat? Yes, Lynn.
Yeah, but the disguise doesn't fool Violetta. She recognizes him right away. So the reason for that has got to be upcoming. It's like someone's going to mistake Frisco for Fontinell because Violetta didn't mistake Fontinell for Frisco. So I'm curious now what that change of clothes was meant to do. Why did we do that?
Is it an escaping cell situation?
Yeah, maybe.
But if they both left, how did that work? So it's in Look About You, the person who they swapped clothes with had to stay behind. It's as the person who was supposed to still be in the cell. Alan.
I think Frisco has remained in the cell. I think we've got that same setup as in the one you just mentioned. Because he does refer to, well, if I die in the cell, I'm 3 steps closer to heaven or whatever.
That's your way, and this pit hole's mine. Back to the dungeon I go. Enjoy the fish heads.
sorry, it's a really interesting little bit there because I can't tell why Frisco is doing this.
Money.
Yeah, he's just like, oh well, I'll risk hanging, no big deal, huh?
I mean, he has. There've been little bits and but you're right. He hasn't done any real exposition on that, and that's to say, I think where those lines later on, of the question of why is all this happening? So, we'll explain later. The reason doesn't matter. It's just plot because Lynn.
Yeah, motivation is a bit of a question. Like, he's probably got a pretty good gig, being the doorkeeper or a very successful sex professional. Why is he risking his job security to help this foreigner? So I don't know. That's up to the actors. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's a mystery. I don't understand. Alan.
I think actually Frisco thinks that he's actually helping Fontinell to escape to go visit Imperia. And he's then encountered Violetta along the way.
Maybe.
That's the way I read it anyway. That one is happenstance, or in part happenstance, having been set up by the subversion of Truepenny to act as a messenger on that other part.
Okay. Well, let's see whether we get more data on that. We've lost Imperia, as I say, due to the power outages. So I'll ask Briony. I think you're free to read Imperia. I don't think you say anything in this coming up scene. I could be wrong, but otherwise I think it all still holds together. So I don't think trivia. I think it's all Simperina as made. If trivia turns up, then I'll jump in.
I'm Curvetto, though, yeah?
Oh, Curvetto, the very top of the scene, yes, but then you disappear immediately,
Okay,
so
cool.
I don't think you coincide, so I think that will work. So, Act 3, Scene 3, or Running Scene 7, enter Curvetto and Simperina.
I must not stay, thou sayest.
Gods me away!
Bus again. Here's sixpence. Bus again. Farewell, I must not stay then. Farewell. At 10 o'clock thou sayest, and ring a bell, which thou wilt hang out at a window, this window.
Lord, she'll hear this fiddling.
No, close, on my word. Farewell, just 10 o'clock, I shall come in. Remember to let down the cord, just 10. Thou'lt open, mouse? Pray God thou dost. Amen, amen, amen. I'm an old courtier wench, but I can spy a young duck. Close, mum, 10. Close, 'tis not I.
Exit Curvetto. I'm just going to pause there because I think we should just take in what's going on here. So, I don't recall this was hinted at all in the previous scene, but it looks like Simperina is involved with this old courtier. I don't know whether there's a precise exchange of money that is expected. I mean, he gives sixpence, because he continues to be this extravagant tipper. I mean, sixpence was worth more then, but I don't think it's worth the amount this establishment expects. But so there does seem to be there's actual genuine potentially affection here, but again. But I think there's important, again, plot contrivance. I'm not going to call it plot development. I'm going to call it plot contrivance for a gambit that is going to come up later. I'm just anything involving letting down a cord at a specific time. I'm just gonna say that might be leading somewhere as a thing. But yeah, completely unsignposted as far as I was aware. But I might have missed something. Aliki.
So bus is kiss, right?
Yes.
Say kiss again. Oh, all right, here, sixpence. Maybe it's just sixpence for the kisses,
Yeah.
An extra. Maybe he pays her better for the work at hand.
Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to mark that so we were all clear, especially as we're literally just swapping parts straight back round again. So exit Curvetto, Simperina.
Mistress! Sweet ladies!
Enter Imperia and courtesans. We have lots of courtesans. They're extremely doubled. With table books.
Is his old rotten aquavita bottle stopped up? Is he gone? Fie, 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 fie. He so smells of ale and onions and Rosa Solace. Fine, fie. Bolt the door, stop the keyhole, lest his breath peep in. Burn some perfume. I do not love to handle these dried stockfishes that ask so much touring. Fie, fie, fie.
Nor I, trust me, lady, fie.
No, 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 no. Stools and cushions, low stools, low stools. Sit, 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 round, ladies, round. So, 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 so. Let your sweet beauties be spread to the full and most moving advantage, for we are fallen into his hands, who they say has an ABC for the sticking in of the least white pin in any part of the body.
Madam Imperia, what stuff is he like to draw out before us?
Nay, 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 'tis Greek to me, 'tis Greek to me. I never had remnant of his Spanish leather learning. Here he comes. Your cares may now fit themselves out of the whole piece.
Enter Lazarillo.
I do first deliver to your most sweet and long-fingered hands this head, or top of all the members, bare and uncombed, to show how deeply I stand in reverence of your naked female beauties. Bright and unclipped angels, if I were to make a discovery of any newfound land, as Virginia or so, to ladies and courtiers, my speech should hoist up sails fit to bear up such lofty and well-rigged vessels. But because I am out to deal only with civil shitty matrons, I will not lay upon your blushing and delicate cheek any other colours than such as will give lustre to your shitty faces. And to that purpose, our thesis is taken out of that most plentiful but most precious book entitled The Economical Cornucopia.
The what?
The Economical Cornucopia. Thus, wise is that wife who with apt wit complains that she's kept under, yet rules all the reins.
Oh, again, sweet signor, complains that she's kept under. What follows?
Yet rules all the reins. Wise is that wife, who with apt will complains that she's kept under, yet rules all the reins. Most pure and refined plants of nature, I will not, as this distinction enticeth, take up the parts as they lie here in order. As first, to touch your wisdom, it were folly. Next, your complaining, 'tis too common. Thirdly, your keeping under, 'tis above my capacity. And lastly, the reins in your own hands, that were the upper say of all, the very cream of all, and therefore how to skim off that only listen. A wife wise, no matter. Apt wit, no matter. Complaining, no matter. Kept under, no great matter. But to rule the roast, that is the matter.
That ruling of the roast goes with me.
And me.
And me? I'll have a cut of that roast.
Since then, a woman's only desire is to have the reins in her own white hand, your chief practice, the very same day that you are wived, must be to get hold of these reins, and being fully gotten or wound about, yet to complain with apt wit, as though you had them not.
How shall we know, signor, when we have them all or not?
I will furnish your capable understandings out of my poor Spanish store, with the chief implements and their appurtenances. Observe, it shall be your first and finest praise to sing the note of every new fashion at first sight, and, if you can, to stretch that note above 11.
Good.
Good.
The more you pinch your servants' bellies for this, the smoother will the fashion sit on your back. But if your goodman like not his music, as being too full of crotchets, your only way is to learn to play upon the virginals, and so nail his ears to your sweet humours. If this be out of time too, yet your labour will quit the cost, but by this means your secret friend may have free and open access to you under the colour of pretty new lessons. Now, because you may tie your husband's love in most sweet knots, you shall never give over labouring till out of his purse you have digged a garden, and that garden must stand a pretty distance from the city, for by repairing thither much good fruit may be grafted.
Mark that.
Then in the afternoon, when you address your sweet perfumed body to walk to this garden, there to gather a nosegay, sops in wine, cowslips, columbines, heartsease, etc., the first principle is to learn that you stick black patches for the room onto your delicate blue temples, though there be no room for the room. Black patches are comely in most women, and being well fastened, draw men's eyes to shoot glances at you. Next, your ruff must stand in print, and for that purpose get poking sticks with fair and long handles, lest they scorch your lily-sweating hands. Then your hat with a little brim, if you have a little face, if otherwise, otherwise. Besides, you must play the wag with your wanton fan. Have your dog, called Pearl or Min, or I ask you, or any other pretty name, dance along by you, your embroidered muff before you off on your ravishing hands. But take heed who thrusts his fingers into your fur.
We'll watch for that.
Once a quarter, take state upon you and be chick. Being chick, thus politically, lie at your garden. Your lip-sworn servant may there visit you as a physician. Where otherwise, if you languish at home, be sure your husband will look to your water. This chickness may be increased with giving you out that you breed young bones, and to stick flesh upon those bones. It shall not be amiss if you long for peas cods at 10 groats the cod, or for cherries at a crown the cherry.
Oh, dear tutor.
Interrupt him not.
If, while this pleasing fit of chickness holds you be invited forth to supper, whimper and seem unwilling to go. But if you're good man, bestowing the sweet duck and kiss upon your moist lip entreat, go. Marry, my counsel is, you eat little at table, because it may be said of you, you are no cormorant. Yet at your coming home you may counterfeit a qualm, and so devour a posset. Your husband need not have his nose in that posset. No, trust your chambermaid only in this, and scarcely her, for you cannot be too careful into whose hands you commit your secrets.
That's
That's
certain.
certain.
If you have daughters capable, marry them by no means to citizens, but choose for them some smooth-chinned, curled-headed gentleman. The gentleman will lift up your daughters to their own content, and to make these curled-plated gallants come off the more roundly, make your husband go to the herald for alms, and let it be your daily care that he have a fair and comely crest. Yea, go all the way yourselves. You can to be made ladies, especially if, without danger to his person, or for love or money, you can procure your husband to be dubbed. Goddess of memory, lock up these jewels, which I have bestowed upon you in your sweet brains. Let these be the rules to square out your life by, though you ne'er go level, but tread your shoes awry. If you could get these reins into your lily hand, you shall need no coaches, but may drive your husbands. Put it down, and according to that wise saying of you, be saints in the church, angels in the street, devils in the kitchen, and apes in your bed. On which, leaving you tumbling, pardon me that thus abruptly and openly I take you all up.
You have got so far into our books, Signor, that you can't escape without a pardon here, if you take up never so snappishly.
Music there to close our stomachs. How do you like him, Madonna?
Oh, trust me, I like him most profoundly. Why, he's able to put down 20 such as I am.
Let him build upon that. Nay more, we'll henceforth never go to a cunning woman, since men can teach us our Larry.
We are all fools to him, and our husbands, if we can hold these reins fast, shall be fools to us.
If we can keep but this bias, wenches, our goodmen may perchance once in a month get a foregame of us. But if they win a rubbers, let them throw their caps at it.
No, 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 dear features. Hold their noses to the grindstone and they're gone. Thanks, worthy signor. Fie, 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 you stand there too long. Come, bright mirrors, will you withdraw into a gallery and taste a slight banquet?
We shall cloy ourselves with sweets, my sweet Madonna.
Troth, I will not, Madonna Imperia.
No, 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 fie, 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 Signor Lazarillo. Either be you our foreman, or else put in these ladies at your discretion into the gallery and cut off this striving.
It shall be my office, my fees being, as they pass, to take toll of their alabaster hands.
Exeunt courtesans, Imperia stays along with Simperina.
Admired creature, I summon you to a parley. You remember, this is the night?
So, I do remember. Here is a key that is your chamber. Light, Simperina. About 12 o'clock you shall take my beauty prisoner. Fie, 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 how I blush. At 12 o'clock.
Rich argosy of all golden pleasure.
No, 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 put up your joys till anon. I will come, by my virginity, but I must tell you one thing, that all my chambers are many nights haunted, with what sprites none can see, but sometimes we hear birds singing, sometimes music playing, sometimes voices laughing, but stir not you, nor be frighted at anything.
My Hercules, if any spirits rise, I will conjure them in their own circles with Toledo.
So. Lights for his chamber. Is the trapdoor ready?
'Tis set, sure.
So. I will be rid of this broiled red sprat that stinks so in my stomach. Fih! I hate him worse than to have a tailor come a-wooing me. God's me, the sweet ladies, the banquet I forget. Fie, follow, dear signor, the trapdoor, Simperina.
Exit Imperia.
Signor, come away.
Cupid, I kiss the knock of thy sweet bow. A woman makes me yield. Mars could not so.
And exeunt. So, there's quite a few things to unpack here. I like the idea that Imperia has an emergency trapdoor. It's just, there's just and no. So that's interesting. I like the idea of I hate him worse than to have a tailor come a-wooing to me. That's an interesting class position thing, I assume. And right, okay, so let's unpack. Lazarillo's done a lot of talking. He said a lot of really filthy things. Many Now, does he know that this is what he's doing, or does he think that this is genuine instruction and that's his into this place for then what he, naughty things afterwards? I mean, because basically the question is, what's the joke? Are they laughing at him because he doesn't understand it, or are they laughing with how is this scene functioning? Because I mean, I'm all for people just saying naughty things, but if it to be a joke, it needs to be on someone or in some. It needs to. I'm not sure what the structure is going on here. So thoughts in the room. Does he know what he's saying, or does he not?
I certainly didn't.
No, you're an innocent, and you wouldn't know any of those things, I'm sure. Aliki.
I mean, apart from the misspeakings, right? Like chickness for sickness. I think he does know what he's saying. I think he thinks he's dispensing great advice on how to manage and cheat on your husbands. Sort of. I think that's what he thinks, yeah.
So is the joke that it's Coles to Newcastle? Is that the joke? Lynn?
Yeah, there you go. That's that. I think that's my favorite hypothesis so far. Is that yeah, he's talking to sex professionals like they don't know how men work and how to manipulate them and how to get what they want from men. Like like they don't know.
He's teaching his grandmothers to suck eggs.
Yeah. Because it's a lot of text. I mean, there's a lot there, and some of it is very, very good, but there is a lot of it, and it's sort of I need to know what the dynamic of the scene is for that to feel okay, because and to know basically to know what the game is, and there, other thoughts about this particular scene? It is. There's a lot of text there. Alexandra, you're back. Sadly, you lost the opportunity to listen to the filth, and because of power.
Yes, I was powerless to stop it. It's yes, and unfortunately, the big problem with it is my internet got removed. Everything else has batteries and such like, but yes, I couldn't get online. My apologies, and thank you for covering, Briony. I think what's fun in this, what could be very fun in this bit in a modern context, is the sort of not two-facedness, but the courtesans or the ladies, presenting a very sincere, very eager kind of, yes, instruct us, sort of attitude to his face. And then as soon as he's turned around, sniggering and then having sort of jokes with the audience and, playing that game.
Yes, because mark that. Yes, write that down. That's a useful bit of advice. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, because basically he is mansplaining sex to them. And yeah. Bless. Yeah, I've got so many exit lines. I don't know which one to choose. Briony.
I'm just really glad that the women have turned out to be who they have been in this play, because I had high hopes with it being a boys' company, but I'm loving the games that these women are playing, and the fact that it's a lot of stuff that's normally the men get to do and be, but the women are getting to do it. Nice change.
Dan.
I think this play is smarter than one may have thought it was from this scene itself, because there is no way to read or see the scene and not think that Lazarillo is a fool, essentially. So, I mean, normally these are not normally, but in other plays we have read, this was meant to be a sincere character, and yes, we should be possibly following his wisdom. But here, I definitely do not think that's the case.
Lynn.
Yeah, because to add to the evidence that we're not supposed to take Lazarillo seriously, whether it's his name, which means little Lazar, but also he was established as a very recognizable type in the first scene in which he appeared. He's the Miles Glorioso, he's the braggart soldier, he's the one that ran a mile before he dared look behind him to see if anyone was following. We're not expected to respect this guy at all.
And on top of the military thing, it's also that braggadocio thing of I'm a man of the world, I know all the things. And he's going, yes, of course you do, absolutely. Aliki.
Yeah, and Imperia has only just told us that she wishes to get rid of him and that he's a man of gingerbread. Which brings me to what I think is going on. She said to all of the courtesans, come and help me get rid of this idiot. I will feed you so well. I've got all the best pastries, and it'll be boring for a while, but we'll make fun of him and then we'll eat. Because I was like, I'm going to stuff my face kind of comments from the courtesans.
And yeah, this is leading, and she's saying all these things to Lazarillo, which as she leads him away, and then whispering over her shoulder, it's prepare the trapdoor. I mean, just it just comes out of nowhere. She's got a trapdoor. It's brilliant. Every establishment should have one. Briony, then Lynn.
Yeah, and I'd totally forgotten that from what he says, they're all sitting around naked as well. And I love that she's just got all these women around. Right, you just place yourself, spaced out really nicely so that wherever he looks, there's going to be a tit or something, sorted. I just love it.
So that's part of the joke too, is him going around like, you're
Yeah, especially as he's giving such luster to their shitty faces. That's a joke that just keeps on giving, isn't it? Lynn.
Yeah, the trapdoor. It's not quite as hilarious as Dutchman in a Basket. What play was that? Where, the poor guy is trying to woo and he ends up like spending the entire night in this giant basket. Money? Yeah, Englishman for money. But it's still pretty amusing.
Well, we've got a reference to ropes hanging out of windows as well, so it looks like we've got going down, we've got going up. It looks like we're going to go in all of the directions. I also just love the way that Imperia, as she's leading Lazarillo away, is going, my chambers are many nights haunted. You will hear strange noises. You will hear birds singing, music playing, sometimes voices laughing. That's a setup that I like. So yeah, okay. We have run out of text for this session, so we're going to go into final thoughts around the room. It's not a long play, and I've been stretching it out a bit actually in terms of what we're doing with it. I'll go to Dan first for any final thoughts. I think just to prime on this point, we were talking last time about are there hidden depths or shallows to this text, and actually that there's a lot more going on here than there seemed to be last time. I mean, that's partly, I think, because the amount of text we'd so far done, it's hard to be deep when you don't you're not a long text. But there's definitely a lot more ticking over here in terms of satire and play and comedy and things. Dan.
So you basically said what I would say.
Oh, sorry. I was setting you up for.
It's intelligently written that way. And I think this is the best kind of comedy when it sneaks up on you, when you're going to sneak in your points that you want to make without hitting us over the head with them right from the start and throughout the entire play. So yes, still very much enjoying it, and there are additional layers even to it.
Yeah, but there's no Blurt. I mean, are you feeling the absence of Blurt?
Yeah.
No.
You got one little name check,
Yeah. Just to remind you, he's the title character. Bless. Poor Blurt. I like Blurt. I'm sure he will make a funny entrance soon. Because it feels like we're building up to a situation that Blurt's going to stagger into, doesn't it? It feels like Blurt's going to stagger into the chaos that we've got set up here. Alan, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting piece. It's bloody difficult to cope with it as a cold read because there's some fairly clever wordplay in there, which unless you spot the phrasing early enough, is difficult to get the timing in the right place. I mean, an awful lot of it we know is standard boys' company. How many dirty gags can we get in per line? And they've managed to cover a pretty good spectrum of them so far. An interesting question, this one about the ladies sitting around naked, as to how they played with that with costuming for a boys' company.
Yeah, it's again, it's that slightly icky element of the boys' company dynamic of just how far they go with things, and more importantly, who in the audience is that? Why they turned up? So yeah, I always worry slightly about the audience for the Boys Company plays rather than the actual boys or the Boys Company itself. Lynn, any final thoughts?
Yeah, that's very uncomfortable to think about in the time. But in a contemporary production, if we did this now, we would almost certainly have women playing the courtesans in their we could even costume it contemporary and have them wearing the sexy lingerie or whatever. Or if you did it in period costume, they're wearing sort of semi-sheer smocks or whatever. So we don't need our audience from today to think about that. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's clever enough yet predictable enough to be pretty satisfying. I'm curious what's happening with Frisco. I kind of hope Alan is wrong that he's not really helping the couple that we're on the side of on purpose. It's an accident, but he's probably not wrong. He's probably right. But yeah, I'm having fun, and there doesn't seem to be any like, oh boy, there's a big problem we need to deal with looming that I have seen.
No, we've got the odd little tweak here or there, but otherwise, it's doing all sorts of interesting things, and that makes me interested. Alexandra, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I was just putting it in the chat. I don't think apparel, even nowadays or at the time, would need to genuinely be revealing. Just kind of more revealing than would be proper, and suggestive of underwear or nightwear in the context of whatever period you're setting it in, and already you've established what you're trying to establish. So I think that's the thing that we've encountered in other plays where along comes this character doing penance or something naked, except what that means is in their undershirt, or bare, and that's how that translates. So yeah, I think there's a lot more dirtiness or implied dirtiness in the language, and that's why they can get away with it. Rather than anything that would, get the company into trouble or potentially be, offensive in a way that could get this cash cow shut, which I think lends itself well to how you would be able to get around such problems in contemporary productions as well. Because again, we are much more accepting of suggestive and foul language. The thing that I'm finding structurally through this whole thing is that supposed main plot is really holding no water. Violetta and Fontinell meet because they've agreed to run away together. They have something like 6 lines and they're gone. And this is a love story that's all happening off screen, and apart, and it's sort of weak, but I guess that's not it's not supposed to be incredibly full of depth. And I do feel the great lack of the title character. Yes, I think there's something strange about why you would title a play after that minor, secondary, tertiary, unless they become massively important at the end. No spoilers. No secrets, and possibly not the case.
Yeah, you see, it's that thing about this kind of love plot is it's all about the people getting in the way. It's the obstruction, and that's sort of so much new comedy is about the person who is getting in the way of the lovers, and they get reunited at the end. Whereas here everything's shifted so much more to the people who are getting in the way that we're almost forgetting the love plot is a total MacGuffin. It's not that it is actually there and enacted. It is just a pretext to set up this situation that is presumably going to go farcically wrong, in hilarious ways, which Blurt will tidy up next time. That's the rough idea of where I think this is going. Alexandra.
Sorry, you just reminded me that there was one more point I wanted to make, which is, yes, that I think structurally it's got these two innamorati, these two very flat kind of characters who are defined by being in love and nothing else. And everything else is sort of, it's really well done, but it's based also, you can find also basis in commedia tropes and commedia sort of characterization that, as we've been discussing, to the point where within the story they refer to servant characters as zanis.
Yes.
So I don't think the play wants to be what we think of as a standard narrative. I think it's a very well done commedia play.
Briony, any final thoughts?
Just piggybacking off what Alexandra said there about the way the love story takes place off the stage. That kind of parallels a lot of the plays that we've been reading of the time that feature wars, as the predominant thing, and yet all of the war happens off stage. So I think that's interesting. And yeah, agree with most of what other people have said. This is a very, very clever play and very enjoyable. It's not like laboriously clever, it's subtly clever. And I absolutely, some of the language is just delicious with the food metaphors and just all kinds of really beautiful stuff going on.
And Aliki, any final thoughts?
Right, so I too suspect that Master Constable Blurt is going to turn up eventually in the great big set piece scene where everything gets resolved, and that's going to be fun. But I don't need him to. I think his name, his fun speech when he was introduced, and just that is good enough for me. I'm also having a really good time. I was thinking it's a play that I've had a lot more trouble understanding than I usually do. I mean, for people who are involved in this project, I'm not that learned in early modern language use, but I do reasonably well. As a general rule, I understand about 70 to 95% of what's being said. And here I understand less than half quite a lot of the time, but I'm still along for the ride and thoroughly enjoying myself. So I don't know what that means exactly, but yeah.
I think there is something interesting there. I mean, a lot of the time they are using. I mean, certainly Lazarillo is. There's an awful lot of verbiage there, and like one is zoning in and out on that. Clinging onto anything that sounds dirty, and then everything else just sort of fades back into the background. And yeah, that is a bit where I'm sort of going, well, maybe that needs a bit of a trim there, and maybe a bit of a tweak there. Whereas actually most of the rest of it. Less so, but you're right. There is a certain language to this. There is a certain mode of speech for everybody, and again, it may be just a hint of where the language of plays are going. Sorry, Leaky again.
Sorry, there's a lot of paraphrase, a lot of talking around things in an odd kind of way. I think is part of what I mean.
Yeah. Right. Unless there's any additional thoughts in the room, Lynn.
Well, I wanted to respond to the observation that the love story is rather underdeveloped. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment, but I think the play also gets a lot of mileage with the little bit of stage time it gives the lovers. Violetta is established as pretty independent and feisty and clever in her very first scene. She didn't take any crap from her brother, and she's teasing them and giving them a hard time. She has some verbal cleverness. She's pretty sharp, and then Fontinell, when their manipulation to get him to fall in love with Imperia just completely falls flat. It's like I'm not going for that. I'm in love with Violetta, and go ahead, send me to prison. I don't care. I'm going to die in love with Violetta. Do what you want to. It's very noble. And Violetta's brief second appearance where where she just says, "Thanks for the music, I'm going to bed, and you're not changing my mind." So maybe we don't see as much of them as maybe in a modern context we would like to, but I think on stage, once you had people, good actors inhabiting those roles, they wouldn't fade into the background as much as one might fear.
Mm. And also, let's be honest, when it comes to a lot of these kind of romantic figures, they're really boring. And actually having just as much as you need for the plot to move forward is kind of fine. I'm kind of down with that. It's like they've spoken to my younger self, just going, "I'm bored now. Where's Blurt? I want Blurt." And just on that thing about Blurt, I think I've said this before. It just feels like that's the kind of thing that sticks in the audience's mind when they leave. They go, "I really liked Blurt," and because I'm just wondering whether this is the original title or this is the title that it became known as after the first performance. So it's just because that's what everybody called the play. Because it's got two titles. We've got the Spaniard's Night Walk, and it's part of me thinking that's the original title, and that Blurt's just the title that everyone's stuck with. That's speculation. It's meaningless. It could be the other way around. It could have been other titles available. Alexandra.
If it is the Spaniard's Night Walk, I mean, because that is the other title, that would be a reference to Lazarillo, who is also not there for most of the time, except when he's lecturing courtesans on how to do their job. So even if it is named after him, it's still named after a character who is not definitive to the plot, which is still really interesting. But yeah, that's a really good point, that maybe this is just the surviving title, and it had a much blander, much less, worthwhile original title, and the only reason it survived is because, people found it so much fun they renamed it.
Yeah, Alan.
I must admit, I'm thinking that this is almost what you get in Gilbert and Sullivan a lot later. The romantic plot is there just to give you an excuse to put in comedy numbers and comedy routines. And to me, the whole point of this is basically the group of lads, taking the mick out of each other and seeing how many dirty gags they can get across in any given space of time.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue with that, of course, is it's not written by the boys; it's performed by the boys, and I don't think they have much agency over what the scripts turned out to be. Though, of course, the scripts may be reactive to what the boys are good at doing, and it's going to be much more a question of what the audience wants to see as well. Aliki.
You said a word earlier that I think is very much to the point, which is farcical. There's a lot of farce to this, a lot of farce setup, but also a lot of actual, you can see, get him out of there, no, welcome, all of that kind of stuff, and the business with the bells and the trapdoor that we're anticipating, all of that. So it's got quite a lot of the 19th century in it, or of what we associate with the 19th century.
And of course, and as I was saying earlier, there's a lot of songs in this as well. So the musical numbers, they might be much more to do with what the song. They might be more crowbarred in. Actually, I mean, taking on that question of what material just gets thrown in. Those are the songs that are really hot at the moment. Can you find a place for them in the show? Not really. Well, try. And because they're boy singers, that's technically what a lot of them are there to do, is sing, not to actually do the acting. Yeah. Anyway, unless there's any more, I will close the session. So we have one more session to finish off this particular narrative, find out where it's going to go. So all that remains is thank all the wonderful readers for their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.
But take heed who thrusts his fingers into your fur.